Hello everyone and welcome back to Root Double. In the last episode, we were confronted with a crazed Yukida who has a gunpoint. Fortunately, we were able to escape, and we ran into June, who was also crazed with the engine cutter. We finally went back, since we realized that the nuclear reactor doesn't really exist. Maybe the piping and stuff that was supposedly bringing water from the lake didn't exist also. Well, it still does apparently, but now we're going to find a way to get around it using a plan we came up with to hopefully escape from this crazed place once and for all. He picked up the air tank and one of the wrecked protection suits. This won't be enough to get us out of here. Watasi took off the cracked faceplate, threw it aside, and ran out of the base. He went through Area A and picked up the axe there. Then headed straight for Area 4 this time. All the protection suits I've seen so far have been damaged in some way. Tachibana and Moribase have broken faceplates, Tsujima's was all battered up, and the lower half of Hiyama was completely burned up. But if I combine them together... Watasi ran to the elevator hall with that thought in mind. He then found himself face to face with Hiyama's body. Watasi apologized to Hiyama and then ripped his faceplate off. Now I have everything I need. He had the axe, an air tank, a perfectly intact faceplate, and an undamaged protection suit. Watasi carried them all and went off running again. He headed toward the engine room where Kazami and the kids were waiting for him. Kazami ran over to him as soon as he returned to the engine room.
隊長、どうしたのですか？その防護服は。
複数の防護服の無事な部分をつなぎ合わせた。
そんな方法が。
I know, we're pretty clever, aren't we? Kazami said that with admiration in her voice. Watasi nodded, then continued.
立花、これでようやく脱出できるぞ。
Let's get the hell out of here. We've been here way too long. Kazami nodded, then pointed to the pipe near the ceiling.
図面を見るに、奥側のパイプが排水パイプらしいです。
Okay.
間違って取水パイプを破壊したら、このラボ自体が水没してしまいます。どうかご注意を。
Well, we don't want that.
分かってる。ここまで来てそんなヘマはしないさ。まずはろ過機構を破壊して。
Oh yeah, we gotta break the filter
ちょっと
mechanism.
待っていてくれ。
That supposedly shuts off the water. Watasi gripped the axe and walked over to the filter mechanism. He then swung down on the control board with all his might. After hitting it several times, the quiet sound of running water finally stopped.
止まったぞ。
これでパイプ内に入れますね。
Watasi nodded and turned to Kazami.
さて、最後の選択だ。
The last choice.
防護服は一着しかない。
Who goes?
俺とお前のどっちが行くべきだと思う。ここに残っても WX 粒子とやらに脅かされるだろうが。
Kazami hesitated for a moment before answering.
私が行くべきだと思います。
なぜ？
ここに残るよりパイプ内に入る方が確実に危険だからです。熱水が満ちる中を500メートルも歩くなんて、ボンベの空気が持つかどうかも本当に微妙だし、そんなところにあなたを行かせられません。
Kazami stared right at him. Watasi gave a faint smile.
そう答えると思ったよ。でもな、立花、それはダメだ。
え？
お前、足を怪我してるだろ。その足で狭いパイプ内を500メートルも歩けるのか？
いいえ、これ式の傷。ここまで天川君たちを連れてこられたんですから。
だけど、少しはスピードは落ちるはずだ。パイプに突入するやつの背には、この施設内の全員の命がのしかかってるんだ。
That's a lot of pressure.
だったら、少しでも成功率を高くするべきだろ。だから、パイプには俺が突入する。
Watasi said that in a clear voice.
これは命令だ。逆らうことは許さん。
隊長、逆らいます。
おいおい、
Come
何言ってん
on.
だよ。
We
立花ら
can't
しく
be
もない。
arguing. We gotta do this now.
でも、
We have two crazed people after us who want to kill us.
俺は最初の頃、どうしようもなく無力で、お前に助けられてばかりだった。お前に認めてもらえればってずっと思ってたんだ。だから最後くらいカッコつけさせてくれよ。
Kazami looked at the four silently,
はい。
and then finally gave him a resigned nod. Watasi felt a wave of confidence wash over him.
それじゃ次は突入の準備だ。防護服を着るのを手伝ってくれ。
ええ。
Watasi put the protection suit on. Kazami set the air tank in place in the faceplate. Watasi then carried the faceplate and air tank under his right arm while holding the axe with his left hand, then turned to Kazami.
よし。俺はここから脱出して助けを呼んでくる。お前たちを置いていくのはやっぱ怖いが、待っていてくれ。
Kazami looked straight into Watasi's eyes.
お待ちしております。
Her eyes were brimming with a tinge of sadness. Watasi smiled back at her, then put the faceplate on.
行くぞ。
Oh, new music. Ooh, I like it. And with that shout, he began climbing the ladder. Once he reached the top of the drainage pipe, he readied the axe. He then swung it down onto the pipe with all his might. Sparks flew as he created a small hole in the pipe. The pipe was solid as a rock, so it was only natural that one strike wasn't enough to open up a hole big enough for someone to fit through. Watasi let out a roar and kept striking the pipe over and over again. He put all strength in each swing, filling them with the will to escape from this place. The hole kept getting bigger and bigger. Steam gushed out of the pipe and some of the hot water poured out. But it was only a little. He really had stopped the water from running. He then kept on swinging away until the axe's blade had finally smashed. But he had already done enough. He opened up a hole big enough for him to climb into.
Yoshi.
Look at that. She's looking at us with hope in her eyes. Watasi looked down the ladder. Kazami was looking up at him with a worried look on her face.
立花、パイプに穴が開いた。俺は行く。子供たちのことを頼むぞ。
Kazami soon answered.
隊長、必ず戻ってきてくださいね。
ああ。
We're coming back. For everybody. Watasi nodded and climbed into the hole. He was now in the only way out of this facility. The pipe was filled with hot water. Darkness dyed the place pitch black. Watasi could feel the heat through his protection suit. If he could walk 500 meters through this lake, he'd end up at Lake Rokume. Here we go. Watasi steeled himself. Then he began his lonely trek through the darkness to save everybody. Here we go. What the hell is this? Is this really the end? Oh, come on. I want to know what happened. Look, we have two people we don't even know about. What? I don't think I did that bad in my choices. Well, maybe there's some after stuff, so hang on. I'll let you listen to the credits. I can hear water. Did we make it?
なんだあれは。
There we go.
嘘だろ。こんなことって。
What happened? It's not over. I don't like this music or this title. Watase had walked about 50 meters from the hole we'd broken open in the pipe, but now he stood frozen in the middle of that flooded pipe. Shit! There was something blocking his path. It was too dark for him to make it out, but he could already tell what it was. It was the forced circulation pump that had been on the blueprint, but he never expected to completely block the inside of the pipe. Why? I can't have come all this way for nothing. Watase punched the pump. It was hard and it didn't budge an inch, just like the bulkhead. It didn't seem like something that human strength alone could deal with. Damn it! Break! Break! I can make it to the lake if I just get rid of this damn thing. Then I can save everyone. Watase desperately kept on punching it, but his blows had a little strength under the water. It soon grew painful for him to breathe. Crap! There was still enough air in the air tank, but exerting his strength in 53 degrees Celsius water was doing a real number on his heart and lungs. Despair rapidly overwhelmed him. His head was boiling from all the heat trapped in the protection suit. If he stayed there, he'd only be ticking down the time to his death. God damn it! Watase kicked the pump. Then began going back the way he came. Watase took off the faceplate once he got out of the boiling water. He climbed onto the pipe, then descended the ladder.
Taicho!
Watase turned around to find Kazami running towards him.
もう戻られたのですか？
すまない立花。パイプの中に障害物があった。6名湖まではたどり着けない。
その障害物を破壊することはエンジンカッターを使うとか。
Does that work underwater?
パイプ内は水で満たされている。水中じゃエンジンカッターは使えないだろう。
We came all this way. Just to be stopped again.
そもそも人力で壊せるとは思えない。別の脱出口を探さなきゃならん。
しかし、もう本当に他に当ては。
もう一度最初に立ち返ってみよう。第2エリアの非常階段にある隔壁、あれを開ける方法を考えるんだ。
That couldn't even be called a plan. But they had no other options. Kazami just silently nodded. Watase took off his protection suit and picked up Natsuhiko.
行こう、立花。
Kazami followed suit by picking up Selu, and then they left the room. According to Watase's watch, it was currently 3:09 p.m. Only 7 minutes left until the AD wore off. Watase and Kazami's steps were weighed down by the heavy chains of despair. It had been hours since I'd last been there. The bulkhead was still closed. Absolutely nothing had changed.
周囲の壁を破壊することはできないか。
Kazami, still carrying Selu on her back, pondered Watase's question. Huh.
難しいでしょう。おそらく周囲の壁も隔壁と同様の材質でできていると考えるべきです。そうでなくては当に司令長たちが爆薬を使ってここに突入しているはずです。
Damn.
そうか。だったら天井を。
But before Watase could finish his sentence, the surroundings grew dark. Power go out finally?
停電？
They say the facility's power was out. Watase and Kazami looked around in confusion as the mechanical voice suddenly rang out.
主電源および予備電源が停止しました。
Oh no.
非常用電源に移行します。
Oh good. The lights came back on in coordination with that voice. It was somewhat dark, but nothing that hampered their visibility.
なんだ今の。主電源が停止したって。今さらどうして？
Watase turned to Kazami to ask her this, then gasped. What the hell? Watase was struck speechless by what he was seeing. Selu's slender arms were wrapped around Kazami's neck like a snake strangling its prey. Kazami gasped painfully for air as Salute glared at Watasi from behind
夏
him.
彦を解放して出ないとこの女の息の根を止める。
やめろサリュー。俺たちは君たちを救いたいだけなんだ。どうしてそれを分かろうとしない。
だから見えすいた嘘はやめろと言っている。あなたの夏彦を撃ったくせに。
We didn't shoot him. Did we? Those words shot straight through Watasi's heart.
今何を。
女、あなたは知らなかったの。
そうですよね。隊長がそんなことするはずないですよね。
Watasi had no recollection of shooting Natsuhiko. However, he had memories that he couldn't explain. Watasi just stood there at a total loss for an answer. Salu then whispered into Kazami's ear.
知らないなら教えてあげる。この男はテロリスト。私たちは昨夜も今朝もこの男の襲撃を受けた。ここで起こっていることは全部あの男のせい。
What?
あなたにだって思い当たることはいくつもあるはず。
やめなさい。これ以上そんなこと聞きたくない。私は隊長を信じて。
ならよく見て、あの男の懐にあるものを。
She was, of course, talking about the gun that Watasi had picked up in
あ
Ariane.
れはおそらくこの男の持ち物。夏彦はあの銃で撃たれて。
But at that moment, Kazami screamed and violently shook Salu off her. Suu's body was sent flying backwards. She then landed on the staircase. All Watasi could do was watch the whole thing from beginning to end. Salu proceeded to tumble down the staircase. She finally stopped at the landing of the stairs at B1. She wasn't budging an inch.
サリュー。
Watasi frantically ran over to Salu and checked her condition. But luckily, she did not display any injuries such as bone fractures, and her pulse and breathing were stable as well. Watasi breathed a sigh of relief just as Kazami came walking down the staircase on shaky feet.
隊長、
No,
野宮さん。
she's not dead. Her face was deadly pale. She had looked really shaken up.
大丈夫。気を失っているだけだ。
そうですか。
Kazami's body was trembling. She then looked to Watasi, with eyes full of fear.
立花。
Kazami was acting weirdly. She then wrapped her arms around her body as if she was trying to hold herself back.
隊長、私
She suddenly stopped talking as quickly as she'd begun.
どうした。
What's wrong? She didn't answer him. All she did was stare at him carefully. Anxiety welled up in Watasi's heart.
立花。どうしてそんな目で俺を見るんだ。まさかサリの言ったことを信じてるのか。バカな。俺がテロリストのわけがないだろう。記憶喪失だろうとなんだろうと。俺が以前からずっとレスキュー隊員だったってことはお前たちが一番よく知ってるじゃないか。
Kazami didn't answer. Watasi's anxiety only grew worse. Soon enough, she'd begun talking in a quiet voice as if attempting to rid herself of her fear.
隊長、もう一度だけ質問してもよろしいでしょうか。
なんだ。
解けていなかった疑問があるんです。隊長はこの事故が起きた直後の6時42分頃、どうして地下に降りてきたんですか。
それはだから堂島と檜山に無線で呼ばれて。
Yeah.
だったら無線は通じていたということですよね。だけど隊長、私はね、その少し前に隊長に無線通信を試みていたんですよ。
What? Watasi felt his insides freeze over. Now that she mentioned that Kazami had said something to that effect way back, the 3:35 a.m. radio communication with Watasi has suddenly ceased. There was an inconsistency with those words, which meant
堂島たちの無線は通じたのに、どうして私からの無線には出なかったんですか。何か理由があって意図的に出なかったんじゃないですか。救命任務の最中にそれを抜け、何か別のことを行うために。
お前いつからそんなこと考えていたんだ。
隊 長が記憶が少し戻ったと言った時から、地下に降りた理由を聞いた時からです。だけど言えなかった。あなたを信じたかったから。時刻の不整合についてはきっとあなたの記憶間違いだって思って。
Kazami lowered her eyes and continued in a shaky voice.
私必死に隊長を信じようとしていたんです。ずっと昔からあなたを信じ続けていたんです。だけどそれももうできません。
You really mean that?
立花。
Just as she said that, Kazami's face and tone of voice changed.
できないのよ、渡瀬。さっきの三宮さんの話が本当だとしたら、何もかも辻褄が合ってしまうの。この施設の正体、以前のあなた、それを考えると答えは一つなのよ。
立花、何を言っている。
あなたが殺したのなら、せめてあなたの名誉のために。
Kazami reached for a fire extinguisher stationed next to the emergency staircase.
立花、そんなもので何をするつもりだ。
Kazami didn't answer. Instead, she started talking again with a voice full of lament.
渡瀬、
No.
あなたは道を。
No, please, please, please don't do anything.
その憎いを受ける時が来た。
And a second later, Kazami swung the fire extinguisher sideways. Watashi immediately blocked it with his arm. His bones creaked beneath the force of Kazami's merciless assault.
よせ立花、なぜこんなことを。
渡瀬、ごめんなさい。渡瀬、私にはもうこうするしか。
Though she was apologizing, Kazami's eyes were filled with an intent to kill. Why is this happening to Tachibana too? Watashi shuddered, then promptly thrust Kazami away. She fell on the staircase with the fire extinguisher still in hand. Watashi took that chance to rush down to B1 and dash out of the stairwell. He continued to carry Natsuhiko as he ran. He was worried about Sulu too, especially since she was still lying unconscious in the stairwell. But it was all he could do to try to take Natsuhiko to a safe place.
どうなってやがるんだ。
He and Kazami had just been seeing each other heart to heart just a short while ago. They'd been trusting each other. So why? Was it all just wishful thinking on my part? But the pain in his arm from Kazami's attack was all too real. It ached painfully with every vibration that came passing through him from the effort of running, as if to remind him of that harsh reality. He found himself blindly fleeing into one of the connecting passageways, but he heard footsteps coming down just up ahead. Who's there? No sooner had he thought that than he'd see June heading in his direction. Oh god. Oh no. She's got the engine cutter. Can't go that way. Watashi turned around and ran for it. He kept on carrying Natsuhiko and escaped into some other area. He was panting, his whole body hurt like mad, but just as he felt as if he could run no more, a dry sound reached his ears. Watashi fell to the ground. His abdomen was hot. The heat soon warped into agony. He had been shot in his flank. Watashi looked around as he pressed his hand against his abdomen. He couldn't see anyone, but he could hear a voice coming from somewhere.
今度は当たったな、隊長さん。おっさん。苦しそうだね。では最後の情けだ。すぐ楽にしてやろう。
Watashi stood up before Yukida finished talking. He reaffirmed his grip on Natsuhiko and started running again, all while blood was pouring from his flank. Fortunately, the bullet had apparently missed any organs, but the pain of the gunshot wound was great, and the bleeding just would not stop. Watashi ran as he looked for a safe place, but before long he saw it. The connecting passageway to Area N. The only way to get past the gate that lay at the end was the level N card that Watashi had. Watashi screamed and spurred himself onwards. He then made a break for Area N. He opened the gate and tumbled his way to the other side. A strange sensation ran through him as his fingertips convulsed, most likely due to the effects of the WX particles, but Watasi endured them. I'm the only one with a level N card, which means I can shake them off if I close the gate. But at that moment, he looked back at the open gate and spotted Kazami in the passageway, fire extinguisher still in hand. Uh-oh. Her glare pierced Watasi, and then she made a mad dash straight for him. The gate started to slowly shut, but it wouldn't be fast enough. Kazami ran through the open gate and swung her fire extinguisher down at Watasi's head. Sparks filled Watasi's vision. His body shook left and right as he lost all sense of balance. She's gonna kill me if I don't do something. And if I die now, then Natsuhiko will also be in danger. Those thoughts held Watasi's splintering consciousness in place. He then mustered the last of his strength and pushed Kazami right out of Area N. Kazami grunted almost the exact same moment that the gate finished shutting. Watasi could hear her voice on the other side. Her voice grew distant. Watasi's headache and convulsions were growing more and more intense. Did the AD wear off? All strength left him the moment he thought that. He suddenly felt faint. Watasi tried to fight off that feeling, but failed. The floor was growing closer and closer. Crap, I'm falling. Ow. Watasi felt Natsuhiko's weight vanish from his back at the same time he fell. It seemed the force had flung him to the side, but there was no longer anything Watasi could do about that. A thought made way into Watasi's faint consciousness. How did it come to this? Did I do something wrong? Thinking about it wouldn't yield an answer. He didn't know anything. Way too many bizarre incidents had occurred in the past 6 hours. The sights and mysterious had witnessed up until the point flickered before his mind's eye. The loss of his memories, the 9 of them being trapped in the facility, the murder victims they'd found, the survivor who'd run away from him time after time, the wrecked cargo lift and the body of an unidentified girl, the disappearance of the AD stock, the loss of any rhyme or reason to everything his companion said and did, the lack of any fires or nuclear reactor in Area N, and finding Natsuhiko on the brink of death instead, and the discovery and subsequent disappearance of Yuri's body. Was all of that actually real? He wasn't even sure of that anymore. I'm not even sure of that. But if it was real, then what the hell happened here? Where'd Yuri's body go? Kazami, Jun, Ina, Yukida, and Yuri. The faces of all those people who Watasi had met up until that point materialized in his brain. No, that's not all. What happened to the 9th survivor? Where's Mashiro Toba? He didn't want to doubt anyone, but everyone was suspicious. I can't help but think that someone set things up so they'd end this way. But who was the mastermind? All that he knew for sure was that it wasn't him. And then, it can't be Natsuhiko. He was dying in here. So I want to make sure that at least he can get out of here. But Watasi's consciousness was growing fainter by the second. Just before he lost consciousness, it happened. What happened? He heard the beating of a heart. For a moment, he thought it was his own heartbeat. But that wasn't the case. The sound appeared to be coming from somewhere closer. He could sense that something was moving next to him. It can't be. Watasi forced his eyes open and looked that way. What the hell is that? He was standing there. Why? Oh yeah, that guy. Oh, he's alive. I thought it was someone different. The boy who was supposed to be on the brink of death was standing tall and glaring down at Watasi with wide eyes. Why had he woken up so suddenly? Why was he going out with Tassi? Well, Tassi lay there without a single answer to any of those questions. The boy then spoke to him. I can't get up.
まだ何も終わってない。
But at the same time he registered Natsuhiko's voice, Watashi's consciousness faded into darkness. Ah, damn. Oh, epilogue. Well, might as well watch it. Came this far, right? At the same time, Lobo entrance hall surface.
お戻りですか、天川博士。
ええ、状況は。
The conversation was underway. Uneasy men wearing protection suits were all lined up in the hall.
先ほど増幅器の停止を確認するとともに電力供給をカットしました。
They cut the power.
数値もすでに減衰に入ってます。
そう。あと3時間ね。
A man asked the woman wearing a white lab coat a
例
question.
の2名は生きているでしょうか。
そのことを祈るしかないわ。
了解。それでは待機を続けます。
The men in protection suits didn't disperse throughout the facility. A great number of men with the same equipment were squirming about the entrance hall. A man who was being held back at the entrance to the facility started shouting.
ふざけるな！地上フロアにも入れないとはどういうことだ！
地上の避難は終了しています。隔壁が開くのをお待ちください。
As the woman listened to the noisy argument from a distance, she turned her eyes deeper towards the facility. Specifically, she was looking at a shut bulkhead.
いつまでこんなことを繰り返すつもりなの。
There wasn't a soul there who could tell what emotions lay hidden in her eyes. She just said nothing and continued to stare at the bulkhead. And, far beyond that shut bulkhead, in the depths of the facility, lay the bodies of those who had suffered most unnatural deaths. The one who collapsed before accomplishing their goal. Those who had become victims of malice. Corpses yet undiscovered. And a life that was currently on the verge of flickering out. In a long forgotten place in a corner of a vast facility. Lay a girl who was bleeding out. Her life was faint and her consciousness was on the brink of fading. A faint voice passed through her barely moving lips. It was that other girl that we never saw. However, her words fell on no ears, but dissolved into the darkness instead. Looks like that's the end of the game. Well, maybe. Is there any more? Oh, wait. Maybe. Oh. You've unlocked the answer mode. By selecting answer during the SS, you can choose a preset value that, oh. So it gives you the answers to all the modes to get you on the good path. Oh, okay. Well, it looks like that's it for Root Double, everybody. The ending was quite depressing, but it obviously wasn't the true ending, or, you know, the good ending where I'm sure everyone gets out okay. But you know what? Maybe that's how it should be, you know? Not every story has a happy ending. You know, and I like that. I enjoyed this game. It was really fun. I'm sure there are lots and lots of endings that I never get to, but honestly, I'm disappointed. It wasn't a horrible ending. You know, it showed me that there was obviously more that I could have done. I obviously took the wrong path to try to escape, which I thought it was a sure thing, but it wasn't. So everyone obviously turned at me on the end, which probably wasn't supposed to happen. And yeah, well, that's it for Root Double, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. Somewhere down the line, I might do some other endings or another path or something, but I don't know. This game's kind of long, so I might not do that. Because I got other games I want to get to. And you know what? We completed it, and that's all that matters. So, hope you enjoyed the ride, and I will see you next time.